Hi everybody, my name is Haydn and welcome to my channel. In this video we're going to be building our first name character selectors on our baby name Redux website. Cool, so what we're going to be building in this video is kind of this alphabet select the first name, which basically means that, if I click this, I only get first names beginning with this letter, or first names beginning with this letter, or if I unclick them all, I get, kind of any letter of the alphabet. Lovely job. So if you were following my last videos, obviously check them out if you've not. You should be up to this point. So what we're going to do is jump into buttons container, and we're going to jump into buttons, and then underneath this part, what I want to do is create a new, let's create a new component called alphabet buttons, like so. And let's go into buttons, new file, alphabetbuttons.jsx. So let's go function alphabet buttons return classic setting up of any React component, import React from React, export default alphabet buttons. Good. If we come here, we shouldn't see anything yet because I've not saved this. Alphabet buttons we've not imported as well, so we need to say import alphabet buttons from, I always spell import wrong, from alphabet buttons. Oh, it's already imported below. Cool, nice. So we've imported that, we've imported that. Perfect, so we have our alphabet buttons, and you can see if I type A, B, C, A, B, C. Lovely job. Okay, cool. So let's get some alphabet. So this is the alphabet, A to Z. Basically what we want to do is iterate through this and create some buttons for this. So we want to create a list in so we're going to need a list and a button from Ant Design, not Ant Design's forum, which will try to auto import for me. We're going to create a list. It's going to be a grid. How many columns do we want in this grid? Probably like 6 or so, maybe, let's say. Nice. And then we want to basically iterate through our alphabet array map. We want to say, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to map the letter and the index to a list item where the key is the letter. So we're having a lot of trouble here. I don't think we need that. In fact, let's just let's just get the letter. Why don't you like this? Because you need to be closed off, yeah? There we go, A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, fantastic, but let's make that look a little bit prettier. What I'm going to do is just import a little button. Cool, so let's just comment that out for now. On click. Cool, so you can see now we've got our nice buttons, but they're not in a column of 6. Okay, so yeah, you probably saw previously that all the alphabet buttons were all in a row. When I made this project, Ant Design has changed their API, so I can't do that anymore the way I was doing it before. So in this version, I have to basically use this list component, which takes a grid. Basically, I can say, like how many columns I want, if I want 8 or 6. I thought 6 looked quite nice. The data source, which is my alphabet, and then the render item, which is obviously each letter in that alphabet. What do you want to do with it? I want to make a list item and a button size large, so when I click on them, they do cool things. So that's that problem solved. What I want to do here is the one that's selected. I want it to be highlighted. So let's say selected, and then set selected equals use state of null, and then down here on the button we can say type. So this type of this button can be if selected equals the letter, then I want it to be a primary, otherwise it is a normal button. So now when I go in here and I click, oh right, yeah, fair, we're not ever setting selected, so I also need to say that when you on click, we want to fire off that set selected to be equal to the letter that we've selected. So now when I click, you can see the selected button becomes the primary button, which is what we want. What I'm going to turn this into is handle click, which takes a letter, and then I'm going to come up here and make a function called handle click which takes a character and does some stuff to it. So as you can see at the minute, I can't unclick on a button. So we just need to be able to say that, you know, if the character we currently have is equal to selected, then a character is equal to null, and then we can say set selected equal to character we passed in. So now if I click here, and then if I click on one, it will check it, which is exactly what we want. So yeah, what we're trying to achieve here is that we want to click on a button, and then as we click on a button, it obviously filters our first name. So you can see I've got Q here and it's not filtering Q. So basically what I'm going to do is come into our store, and I'm going to create another reducer in our store for filters. So you see we've got this current name reducer here with first name, last name. I'm going to come into our reducers and I'm going to create another one called filters, and these are going to be the filters reducer, and let's make a const filters reducer, which takes a state, which we need to essentially make some initial state and an action. So all reducers obviously take state and action, and then they also return state. So we basically want to, when we select one of these buttons, we want to pass a filter down and set a filter into our store for the first character that's picked. So we kind of probably want to do this for the boy and the girl as well, so we want to know if it's a boy or girl name. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to say const filters init state is equal to, so we're going to make some like kind of initial state for these filters. I'm going to say, is it a boy, true or false, and is the first name character, what is the first name character, and let's say, you know, filters initial state equals to that. So you can see if I come into here and then go into the console and go store.get state, you can see we now have two entries in this object, which is current name, and filters, which is also an object which has is boy true, and first name character, which is obviously here. So let's jump into actions now and create some actions for those. So I'm going to create two actions, one called set filter gender, and I'm going to say set filter first name character, just so we have very similar to kind of the previous actions that we have. So that's all we need. And then we're going to basically come into here and do something extremely similar. I'm just going to kind of copy paste some code here, but it does exactly kind of what it does above, but for the filters. So we take an action. If the action is type set gender filter, then we take the state. If it is a boy and the payload says boy, then, you know, all is good. Otherwise, if it says girl, then it'll be false. So it is boy, it will go to false. And similarly, first name character is just action.payload. So whatever we pass in, we'll do that. They're the reducers in our action setup, so we don't really need to touch them anymore. But what we are going to do is basically we're going to need to pass in a dispatch function into here to fire off to update the store. So if you watched my previous video, you know how to do that. We need to come into here. I'm going to say set first name filter is equal to character dispatch set filter gender first name character, sorry, and then character. So we now have this available. So that's going to come into buttons, so we can pop that out of here. We can pass that into here, as you can see. And if I go into alphabet buttons now, we can obviously pop this out of props, const, and we can rip that out of prop like so. And then basically here, all we need to do is say set first name character filter is equal to that character there. Off we go, and you can see basically no major change for us there. We don't really see anything, but now if I go into the store and say store.get state, you can see when we look at the filters for the first name character is null. Oh, it still is null. Perfect. So I just Firefox does this, it's really bad. So you can see there, I've clicked R, I go into store.get state, and you can see now that our filter is being updated with the value R, and I can do, you know, press W, do the same thing, and we see first name filter character is W in R, which is cool, because now what we need to do is kind of pass that state into we need to do like the opposite here, where we need to match our, map state to props, and we need to pass this into our new name. So I'll say first character filter equals state dot, filters dot first name car, and we pass that into our buttons object. Our buttons object takes first name, not map state to props, it's first name character filter, handle baby name change. And when this handles baby name change, rather than saying is it boy or girl null, you know that the baby name generator takes a first name filter now, which should all be good. So now if I refresh this and you can see if I click this, it has everything. And if I filter by C now, it only shows me names beginning with C. I unclick C and we go back to random names. So we've wired that in real nice and easy. What we also need to do is wire in the gender as well now. So let's go back to our buttons container. Basically similar to what we want to do here. We want to get the gender filter. And what is our gender filter? Let's quickly go to reducers called isBoy. Filters isBoy. Gender filter. Well, let's just call this is boy. Yeah, let's call this isBoy filter. That gets passed in. We don't need that. That comes into buttons. That comes into here. And isBoy is if that equals boy. And that will filter on isBoy, but we're obviously not setting that because that happens in this switch button down here. So what we need to do is go and basically wire that in. So we need to say basically on change here, we need to have a way. We haven't got a way of updating this yet, but as in updating the store yet, but we can write the function. So we know if it's checked or not, and we get the event. And then we need to pass this to our, well, let's actually do this now. So we're going to container. We need one of these, but rather than set first name filter, we're going to say set filter gender. And this is going to be isBoy. Or no, let's call that gender. And this is going to be called set gender filter. So that means I'll have access to that in here. So let's pop that on the end. These are getting a bit too long for my liking now. So let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that. So we've got set gender filter. We can say set gender filter, and we can say basically if the value is checked, then we want to say the value is a boy. Otherwise, the value is a girl. Refresh. Yep, cool. So we can obviously trigger that now, and if I look into the store.getState, you can see probably in our filters that the isBoy is false, and if I click isBoy that way, then you can see when I come into our state that the isBoy is now true. So you can see I'm picking only boys. Quinn, okay, fair. Zelma, Harley. Is that really a girl name? Yeah, look, Rosie, Hedwig, Georgina, Una, Gina, Irma. Boy's name, Yati, Brittany. Some of the boys' names are a bit weird, aren't they? David, Diane. Maybe the data's a bit crap, to be fair. It's probably the data's a bit crap, but yeah. There we go. So we're now basically wired in our buttons, these buttons here, to our filters. We're saying if it's a boy or a girl when we're getting a new name, and we can edit the surname to whatever we want. So we're basically doing like half the stuff here, which is like pretty good. And obviously our store's updating. And everything's pretty cool. So yeah, cool. Again, there we go. So the kind of like the fun bit there where we were, filtering by first name or surname, the kind of like the tricky implementation of it there. But that should hopefully kind of get your head around the whole, how do I wire stuff into Redux? It's kind of a good example, I think, of working that out and getting that working. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it informative. Please do give me a like and a subscribe if you did find this helpful. It obviously helps me or motivates me to make more if I know that you guys are doing it. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Have a great day. See you later.